What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming by, and today I want to give you guys the top 10 sounds you should definitely be listening for in Apex Legends. These sounds provide crucial information which you can use to get the upper hand against your enemies. So definitely watch to the end, because these sounds could change the way you play. Now before we get into the video, if this teaches you anything at all, please consider subscribing if you're new, liking the video if you liked it, and as always, hydrate more. And first up, number 10 on our list, that is the sound of the vehicle in Apex called the Trident. The Trident was introduced along with the new map of Season 7, Olympus. Now it's important to keep an ear out for these things for a couple of reasons. The most obvious? Well, it means an enemy is driving one of these around you and possibly headed towards you. So you have to make some quick decisions so you don't become the victim of a Trident drive-by. Shooting at the Trident deals damage to all of the people riding it, but at a reduced rate, while the passengers on these things can shoot at you for normal damage. If you hear one of these, make sure you find them before they find you. Next up, number 9. Any tacticals or any ultimates being used by enemy players. If you can hear it, then there's a fair chance that they are around you. This gives you a chance to prepare yourself and make some decisions. Also, when you first hear it, this gives you a small window of opportunity to react in case that ultimate or tactical was being used against you. Like a Pathfinder grappling on you, a Gibby ult which you can now run away from, or that unfortunate sound of a caustic farting. These sounds could be a warning to get out of the way and let you know what kind of legends you are dealing with. Next up, number 8. That dreaded sound of someone zipping on you. This zipline sound lets you know a couple of things. First and most obvious, that someone is using a zipline. And depending on the strength and direction of where that sound is coming from, you may be able to pinpoint exactly where the enemy is. Knowing where the enemy is and or going is a huge advantage. You can now intersect them and catch them off guard, or simply, in some instances, this sound is a warning for you to get out of the way. Definitely listen closely to these zip lines. The closer you listen to the zip, the more the zip will tell you. Moving on to number 7. Knocks and squad wipes. You ever wonder if that was the whole team that was just wiped, or if your teammate ever got that knock? Well, this sound will tell you just that. Sure, you can memorize your teammate's name and look at the kill feed to see if he got that knock, but that would mean taking your eyes off the most important part of your screen, and in a fast pace like Apex, you just can't afford to do that. This sound would also let you know whether those footsteps you're hearing coming towards you are from another entire team or from a straggling teammate. This allows you to either get the hell out of there because you're getting third-partied, or let you know that you found the last guy who's got a little too much confidence to be pushing you right now. Up next is number 6. The sound of armor breaking, or cracking, or whatever you may call it. Yes, there is also a visual that comes with armor breaking, but if you're not the one shooting at the enemy, then chances are you probably didn't see it, but you will definitely hear it. This lets you know whether you are at an advantage over the enemy player. Depending on the amount of armor and health you have, this could be the perfect opportunity to push your opponent and get your kill. This is one of the most crucial pieces of information you could gather purely through sound. I can't count the amount of times I've heard this sound and thought to myself, I've got him. Moving on to the halfway mark, number 5. Any revives occurring. Now this also includes any revives from respawn beacons as well. If you hear a revive, you may decide that it is in your best interest to stop this revive. After all, you are in a numerical advantage and you'd want to keep it that way if possible. This sound also lets you know in what general direction your enemy is. But beware, your enemy could be using the sound of a revive as bait. If you're not expecting this, then they might actually have the jump on you. And as far as respawn beacon revives, depending on how close you are to it, these can be some really easy kills, because you respawn with, well, with nothing at all. Now moving on to the juicy stuff, at number 4. Healing occurring around you. This is one of the most important things to listen for in Apex Legends. This lets you know that someone is around you and healing. This could mean that they are in trouble and could be an easy kill if you find them fast enough. This is your opportunity to catch them off guard mid-healing. But beware, if you're even a second too late, well, now your enemy could be at full health and you might have just exposed yourself. Also, if you're in a gunfight and you hear an enemy successfully pull off a heal, you may want to rethink how hard you're pushing right now. People must heal in this game, so you'll be hearing this sound very often. Alright, top 3 now. And kicking off our top 3, did you hear that? Can you recognize that sound? That is the faint sound of armor swapping. Yes, this is a very important sound to listen for, but also one of the hardest to hear as it is so low. But trust me, you'll want to know if any opponents has armor swapped. Armor swapping is the quickest way to obtain more shield health if there are armors available. If you manage to hear this sound, well, you might want to rethink how hard you're pushing the enemy. You don't know if they just picked up a fresh white armor, or maybe it's a full red. In any case, if you hear this sound, you know your opponent most likely has full armor. So, use this information wisely, my friends. Now moving on to number 2. One of the more easy sounds to hear is gunshots. You'll hear gunshots in every Apex game you're in, obviously. But it's the way you interpret this information that can help you win gunfights. For one, they let you know that there's a gunfight. Now you can choose whether you want to third party that or not. But aside from telling you where the enemy is, gunshots also tell you what kind of weapon they are using. You may be wondering why this matters. Well, if it's a Mastiff, you definitely don't want to get too close. And if it's a sniper, well, you might not want to peek. Depending on the weapons being used by your opponent, this might change the way you approach certain situations. Maybe even more important than the sound of shooting itself is the sound of the enemy not shooting. Most likely, they have stopped shooting because they need to reload, swap weapons, or heal. This small window of time could be your chance to get the upper hand and catch your enemy off guard. The sound of many guns shooting can be chaotic, but pay attention and it can tell you much more than you realize. Now finally, our number 1 thing to listen for in Apex Legends, and you've probably already guessed it, footsteps. Now I'm sure you don't need me to tell you why footsteps are important, but I'll give you a quick summary anyway. Footsteps are probably the biggest warning that someone is walking or running around in your area. I suggest getting really good at deciphering where these footsteps are coming from, because this can help you so much in outmaneuvering your opponent. Are they above you? Are they below you? This information is crucial. It will 100% change the decisions you make. On the flip side of this coin, you also have to be careful with your own footsteps. Sneaking up on an opponent won't work if you're making a racket. If you listen carefully, footsteps will also tell you what kind of legend is around you. Each legend makes a distinct sound when walking, like Loba's high heel boots, Octane's robotic legs, or Bangalore's ammunition clinking and clanging. All this serves as information for you to make decisions on. Decide wisely, my friends. And that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you learned something new. If you did, please hit that like button, and please consider subscribing if you're new here to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.